What are your proudest accomplishments?
My two sons, Bodie Elfman and Louis Elfman. My daughter, Audrey Elfman. A lot of stage productions and events that aren't recorded. Forbidden Zone, and about to come out, Hipsters, Gangsters, Aliens, and Geeks. And at least the script I've got for Forbidden Zone 2 and the music that's being written for it.
You said something interesting. You said a bunch of events and stage productions that have not been recorded.
Yeah.
So how do you think we operate now as a society? Because if like we see something amazing, first thing we have to do is film it with our phone. And it takes us out of the moment.
Well, there's something, I mean, the difference between stage and theater. There's something about stage that's incomparable. That biofeedback, the audience right there. But what happened, Forbidden Zone was really just my stage show that I wanted to capture on film. Not the same. It's something that happens with theater that's incomparable. But the nice thing about film, you get hit by a truck and someone could see it 100 years later.
But the thing
as the truck barrels down, at least they'll see my films.
Right. But the thing about theater is there's the chance that something could go wrong. And I think that anticipation, and we want to know how are the actors going to handle that.
Shows get to a certain point that you just meld with it. You just meld with it. It's hard to describe. It's something, someone can forget a line and the other guy just picks up. The audience never knows, you know, like after you've played a month. In our French troupe, well, Jerome Savary, he was my mentor, he passed away a few years ago, drank a bit. So right in the middle, here's 800 people, and I got my brother into the troupe to play violin. Our violinist was originally from the French opera, couldn't deviate from the score, and we'd like to do a little bit of improv with the music. So Danny got the role for a summer. So right in the middle of a scene, and Jerome was in it, he just runs out. And the actors are standing there, and here's 800 people. What are we going to do? So I just go over with Danny, and we improvised for 5-7 minutes. And the audience is chanting. He's on his electric violin, I'm on my timbales. Apparently Jerome had had too much to drink, got sick, came back, picked up the play. I've seen people fall down and break ribs and fingers, finish the scene, and then go off stage and collapse.
Oh, wow.
Just like I went 2 rounds with a broken thumb. You do what you have to do.
Do you operate from intuition mostly?
To a large degree. To a large degree, but I always like other opinions before I have a finished product. You know, like with the film, I've got to have input. You know, I test things, want to know what the editor thinks, want to know what the cinematographer thinks. You know, so it's not like a complete blinders.
Sure. Does that sometimes get you in trouble because you know something's going to be a certain way and other people go, no, and then it turns out you were right?
Yeah.
And they go, wait, how do you know that?
Yeah, well, it's also because a film, you can't really judge it until it's completely complete. And people force you to see show rough cuts or this or that. And there's no way to get them to see it until it's done. But sometimes you're forced to let them see it in order to get it done. Irony.
Right. Has your intuition always been strong?
Yeah.
Even when you were a kid?
I go with the gut.
Mm-hmm. Does that make people mad sometimes because you're right? And they get offended? They get upset?
No, if it's a winner, then they all want to sign on.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
And take as much credit as they can.
What about with boxing? How did you use your intuition with boxing?
I don't think I was like this, generally the only white guy in the gym. I hit like a mule, and I wasn't the most finesseful boxer, so I don't know if it was intuition. It was more like just... I wasn't Floyd Mayweather.
But you're obviously still here, so something worked.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a hard time making U-turns because of the stress fractures in the neck. But no, I'm in good shape. I'm in good shape.
You still want a box?
No.
No. You still want to throw somebody in a pool?
Occasionally. Although I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I'm more behaved.
Right.
Yeah. I know the real estate market can drop.
Sure, sure. But it'll come back in LA.
Back.
It always comes back.
Yeah.
Last question is, if you could hold a dinner party for 10 deceased people and have them come back, like say you do a seance or something they would manifest, who would they be?
Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, Celia Cruz, Alfred Hitchcock, Oscar Wilde. God, how many are we?
Oh, 5.
God. Mark Twain. Oh God, my parents. I'll start crying.
Okay, all right. So then we have 2 more after that.
Start crying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh God, who passed? Big directors. Charlie Chaplin and Stan Laurel, who produced all of Laurel and Hardy.
What would you serve?
Oh, maybe what I served last night. I got local branzino, slathered it with a spicy cilantro chili, grilled it with fennel. It's very good with fennel, and got an exquisite Viognier, a little bit above my price range, but the bouquet is perfect. So that's what I had for the first course. For the second course, I just got simple prime New York steak, crushed a ton of fresh garlic, cooked it perfectly, put the garlic and the butter to drizzle over it, and then I grilled onions, portobellos, red and yellow peppers, Anaheim peppers, and so they had fresh vegetables. And we had that with, I had people from Barcelona, so we had a Priorat red wine from Catalonia, excellent. And then we had vintage port with a cheese course. So that's what I served last night. That might do.
And what would be the topic of conversation at this dinner?
Oh, it'd be all kinds of topics.
How would you start it off?
I wouldn't even need to start it off. They'd start themselves. I've got to say the greatest dinner parties are often loud because people are talking. People are talking. They're communicating. And the room was only lit by fire and candles. And then we finished upstairs. I have a fireplace on the deck for the cognac and cigars. And we have cigars of all different types, by the way. My wife had never had a puff of smoke in her life. And although I had permission to smoke cigars, it was like shower twice if I wanted to kiss in bed afterwards. But I finally found something that was so deliciously perfumed and aromatic that she'll have one now. And it's now a couple activity that we do. And she loves the way it looks with her fingernails and a cigar and, you know, kind of like breaking the mold of girliness.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It is very dramatic.
Yeah.
Do you have a no cell phone rule when you have these dinner parties, or that doesn't matter?
No one uses their cell phone.
No.
People take pictures sometimes.
Oh, I see. That's a new sort of
No rules.
conversation of etiquette, like.
Well, I do have rules. Sometimes they have to wear hats.
Oh, I saw the fez out there.
Yeah, and keep your shoes on. Okay.
Any absolute no-nos? Anything goes?
No. I like fun parties where people get to relax and be themselves. I do a director's night once a month.
What is that?
Have film directors over, get drunk, smoke cigars. Got some hot lady directors now too, which is exciting. Okay. In the horror community, we've got some very interesting what's happening now.
So are you talking about film when you have these directors around, or is it completely not about film?
life in some film.
Sure.
You know, people compare notes, some horror stories, mostly just life, what's going on.
And you do this once a month with these directors?
Yeah, I probably have dinner parties at least twice a month. Directors thing once a month.
Interesting. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sounds nice.